The Aquatru is one of the best-selling countertop reverse osmosis systems for renters. But at this point, it's 8 years old, so is this water filter beginning to show its age, or is it still a viable option in 2024 or beyond? So back when the Aquatru was first launched in 2016, it was really the only countertop RO system out there certified to NSF standards. And since then, they've added a few different options, including the Wi-Fi connected version and remineralization filter, which have aimed to address a few common pain points and what I really want to give you an update on today. So first, I want to talk about price because at the time of recording, the Aquatru Classic, which is the base model without any of the optional upgrades, costs $449. You can upgrade to the Wi-Fi connected system for an extra $50 and spend an extra $20 to upgrade to the alkaline remineralization filter. But remember that upfront initial cost is only part of the package though, because we've also got to think about the ongoing cost of replacing the filters. I calculated it at just 11 cents per gallon, which is actually one of the most affordable out of all the water filters I've tested so far. To be honest, I was surprised at how cheap this system is to maintain, given that it has 3 filters that need to be replaced. But I've noticed a trend in that the more expensive systems tend to have a more affordable maintenance cost. So this is definitely something to keep in mind when you're determining your budget for a water filter. And different distributors offer various incentives and discounts all the time, so make sure to check out the description where I'll link up all the latest offers and deals that I've found for you guys. Okay, so there are a lot of things I still absolutely love about the Aquatru. Out of all the water filters I've tested, it continues to hold its top position in terms of overall contaminant reduction. This is based on my own independent testing and data-driven analysis, and it makes it a great option if you're serious about getting clean, healthy water. What really sets the Aquatru apart is their commitment to independent testing. It's IATMO certified to NSF ANSI standards 42, 53, 58, 401, and P473 for the reduction of all 83 contaminants they claim to remove. This level of transparency is super impressive and gives me real peace of mind about the system's capability. I already touched on the cost of replacement filters, but the fact that this system is so cheap to maintain in the long term is obviously another major benefit. Changing the filters is super simple and doesn't require any tools, and the same goes for the setup process. There's no difficult or invasive installation required, and I had the system set up and running within a few minutes. I also want to talk about the app, which is available with the newer Wi-Fi Connect model. So even though I've been using the Aquatru Classic for years, I recently got the Connect version and I found the app actually really quite helpful. Most importantly, it gives you information about the remaining filter lifespan of each filter as a percentage. It shows you a general TDS level of each of the water tanks and even your water usage and savings over time compared to buying bottled water. I recommend the Aquatru Connect if you want to know as much as possible about your system's performance in real time, or if you just want to have access to lots of interesting data. Now, I think it's also important to be aware of any potential setbacks of any water filter system. So it's good to note that using the Aquatru takes a bit more effort than an undersink system. Obviously, with this being a standalone unit that isn't connected to your water line, you'll have to continuously fill the unfiltered water tank yourself. And before refilling, you'll have to empty and dispose of the remaining water to avoid scaling risk, which leads me on to another slight drawback, which is that this system does create wastewater. Unfortunately, water waste is an unavoidable part of the reverse osmosis process. So even though the Aquatru is one of the most efficient RO systems I've tested, wasting just 1 gallon of water for every 4 gallons produced, there's still some wastewater generated. And finally, the system has a unique design and can be a bit bulky. So if space is limited, or if this is an off-putting feature for you, I'd recommend checking out the Aquatru Carafe version instead. I recently tested this system too, and it took up far less space on my countertop while still providing the same exact purification process as the full-size system. And there are a few other differences which I've discussed in more detail in this video up here. We tested the Aquatru with our treated shared well water in Colorado. We actually tested this system twice, once with the standard VOC filter, and then a year later with the alkalizing remineralization filter. Our unfiltered water quality was pretty similar in both tests, and I'll link up the results in the description. In our second test, the water contained similar contaminants, but chloroform, a disinfection byproduct, was also detected. Since I've already shared the results from our first test in this video, I'm going to be primarily focusing on the results from our second test with a specific focus on the remineralization capability of the alkaline VOC filter. Quick disclaimer about the testing process. So water quality varies drastically from place to place, and these are the results from my specific water situation. I strongly recommend testing your own water so you know what contaminants it contains signs that need to be addressed. Our partner Simple Lab provided us with the tap score test kits that we used to test our water both before and after filtering it in the Aquatru. And honestly, I was kind of shocked by how many harmful contaminants were detected in my unfiltered tap water. Fluoride, chloroform, copper, and uranium concerned me the most because they were all detected above the lab's health guideline level, meaning they were present in concentrations that could pose risk to human health. Other contaminants present included metals like strontium, molybdenum, and barium, as well as inorganics like nitrate and sulfate. And once again, just like in the first test, I was happy to see that the system had removed 100% of the contaminants I was most concerned about in my water. So in my first test, while the results were also great, I'd noticed my water tasted a bit flat, and this is probably because most of the healthy minerals that give water its nice alkaline flavor had been reduced along with everything else. Now, the remineralization filter uses the same activated carbon media for VOC reduction as the standard filter. However, the key difference is the addition of a mineral blend that dissolves into the filtered water, potentially mitigating the mineral reduction we observed in the first test. But calcium still decreased by 97.5% and sodium by 85%. However, magnesium was only reduced by 33%, and a small 1.1 ppm of potassium was detected where it was absent in the unfiltered water. So this suggests that the remineralization filter does indeed add potassium and replenish magnesium, but maybe not so much calcium and sodium. Now, we also saw a significant increase in carbonate concentrations by a whopping 17,775% and bicarbonate by 92%. These are naturally occurring compounds made of carbon and oxygen and hydrogen in the case of bicarbonate. This dramatic rise suggests that the minerals originated from the remineralization filter, effectively replenishing some of what was removed during the reverse osmosis process. Additionally, the water's pH level also rose significantly from 7.3 to 10.7. This supports Aquatru's claim of the filter creating mineral-rich alkaline water because adding carbonates increases both alkalinity and pH. We can also see the effectiveness of the reintroduction of minerals when we compare the TDS changes from both our tests. In our first test, TDS was reduced by 89% from 112 down to just 12 ppm. However, in the second test using the remineralization filter, TDS was only reduced overall by 56%, showing how the reintroduction of magnesium, potassium, and carbonates helped bring the reading in the purified water back up to 71 ppm. And finally, and maybe most importantly, I know a few of you have asked me about this already in the comments, but the filter did not introduce any unwanted contaminants into the filtered water. So while the system provides strong contaminant reduction and mineral reintroduction performance, there might be a couple deal breakers for some folks. So the wastewater aspect of ROs might be one, and the fact that it requires electricity to function might be another. So if you're looking for a completely off-grid solution, a gravity filter might be a better option. However, it's important to note that gravity filters will not be as effective as reverse osmosis in reducing certain contaminants. In my testing, the Aquatru effectively removed a wide range of contaminants, including fluoride, disinfection byproducts, and metals, while the remineralization filter worked as expected to increase pH and make the water more alkaline without the addition of any unwanted substances. This impressive performance, combined with certifications and low filter replacement costs, continues to hold Aquatru as one of the best reverse osmosis systems I've come across. So countertop ROs like this are perfect for folks in rental situations who aren't able to install something more permanently underneath the sink. Its relatively compact size makes it easy to fit in most kitchens, and it can even be brought along on road trips for continued access to clean water. Now, even though it provides superb performance, which of course is the most important thing, the Aquatru is a bit limited in terms of features. So if you're looking for a countertop system with all the bells and whistles, including temperature control and volume dispensing presets, you might want to consider something else. And if you do own your home and are able to install a more permanent solution, I 100% recommend an under-sink reverse osmosis system instead. With an under-sink RO, you get filtered water on demand and don't constantly have to be emptying and refilling a dirty water tank. So if this video is helpful, stick around to watch the next one to see more about the best reverse osmosis systems I've tested. Click or tap to watch now.